I just want to play some Yu-Gi-Oh with my casual budget deck, but my locals and online scene is plagued with fire deck budgeters. If this is you, here are free budget decks that are gonna destroy out the fire, clear the fire metal out of this realm. Have you guys heard of the Mutant Arch type? Yeah, basically a deck that thrives on banishing cards and them being banished also. So which means the deck definitely can play Dimension Shifter, and which we all know the fire cards, the fire deck, fire king, all the fire guys have a problem playing around this card. So basically, upon activating this card, your chances of winning the duel is over 50%. This doesn't affect mutants in any way because the deck thrives, like I said, in being out of play, so it doesn't really matter. Speaking of out of play, the deck also can main deck dimensional fissure and macrocosmos. All these cards are gonna banish cards sent to the graveyard. Like we said, we do not care about the graveyard, and the fact that you can main deck these cards easy gives you such a big advantage. Game 1, game 2, game 3, you all good. Now the in-archetype the boss monsters of the deck also are quite effective. Let's look at Beast here for a second. Beast basically is a beast. I know it's a beast. Yes, I'm making it. All right, so this card basically negates the activation of a spell card or the effect, which is quite great. We know all the effect. I love when cards have the effect and they can also negate the effect. And what this card does, it also negate the activation and banish. Now you know what that means, right? Cards like the Sinful Spoil cards, we tend to have second effect or secondary effects in the graveyard, are not going to be in the graveyard. They are going to be banished, which is really great. And most importantly, most of the starter cards, these decks tend to have either the first or second play are a magic card. First or second play are magic card, and it's so easy to get beasts on the field. It kind of gives you such a big advantage, right? So like I said, the deck can play all these utility cards, which for this deck it is, and their in-arch type cards themselves are counter to the Fire Nation also. Let's take a look at Arsenal, right? So basically Arsenal doesn't negate, however it can banish a card. Guys, most importantly, if we can get rid of the Grunix, oh my goodness, and if you're seeing the deck profile of any of the top tier Fire King decks, they play one Grunix. So get rid of this, we are slowing down the deck significantly. If we can get rid of the Flame Budge sent to the graveyard, it special summons two of the level 1 monsters. This is irritating. Get rid of this, we are all good. They are this guy. Okay, not the guy, but Princess. Yeah. Get rid of Princess because this card is in the graveyard every turn, and there's no restriction to this, right? It can just pop every turn when your opponent special summon this, or we special summon this. Is crazy. Yeah, if we can manage this, we are all good. Now what I love about this deck is the consistency. This deck has like 12 starters, so which means it's super easy to get any of these big monsters on the field. So basically, one card from this deck basically gets you some form of negation, along with hand traps, back rows. You are super powerful. Okay, why are we playing Necrophist? Yeah, so basically, when this card is banished, each player banishes 5 cards from the top of the deck. This deck, like I said, thrives on being banished, but most of the requirement to activate the effect is for you to banish a card on the field or your hand. So basically, as cost, you're gonna banish this card and then rip 5 on top of the opponent's hand. So let's just think of it. So you just imagine we summon this, we get a search, because this is one of your, both of these cards are searchers. Yeah, the extenders and searchers. Did I mention that? Yes, quite crazy. It's quite crazy, right? So you get this to the field by banishing this monster. So you get rid of 5 monsters on top of the opponent deck. And let's think of this, right? The deck plays small engines from both Fire Kings, Evil Eye, and these Diabell Star. So just imagine, of that 5 cards being banished, we get rid of the Gronix plus Force, get rid of Pronix, this Phonics, they play 1. We get rid of Fire King, of the Island, bro. This cuts out this engine big time. Such a big advantage to us. Yeah, so this card basically here just to get rid of some of the monsters. So imagine we slim the opponent deck by getting rid of some of the small engines, or the one-offs, and sitting on these cards with this protection. man, we are feeling so good. We're also playing the deck also has Mutant Cry, which basically is it's super power. Well, I don't say super power, but it's fusion card. But the card we want to fusion to most importantly is the Ultimates, because this card negates and banish, which is what we want. Like I said, the deck thrives on banishing cards, right? The deck thrives on banishing cards. So this card would be a big MVP, and like I said, it's a big booty and full of that. So we quite good. The deck also can play skill drain, because basically you can just use you activate your effect and use the monster itself as cost, removing them out of the field, and the effect is still gonna resolve. So you can slap free skill drain in the deck, and feel good to yourself, because here I've activated skill drain against the Sinful Spoiler. There's the fire cards in general, and there's not much they can do. There's not much they can do. Yes, it's GG out of there, but we can also play, unfortunately, that only one. I know most of the archetype or the types in the fire decks, they do have different types, but if you've seen any or felt the wrath of the full combo of the fire decks, definitely there's a portion of the combo which really emphasizes on the evil like package, and they need to have multiple powers on the field. So if you can kind of like just shut down that, it's gonna really limit the combo, allow them or push them to take different routes, so the end board is not gonna be as oppressive as it would usually be. So definitely this is a great. So this deck is really cheap and really effective against the fire deck. The next deck on the list is a deck oh my goodness, bro, I really hate this deck. But it's the savior. It's the savior flu. Oh my goodness, guys, I don't love this deck, but then again, anything to fight the Fire Nation, right? Anything to fight the Fire Nation. One of the best cards is Street. Yeah, so this card basically gets rid of a monster or a card in either player's graveyard, and it can banish it, basically, which is ridiculously good, because any card that can get rid of a card in the graveyard is a plus to us. Like I said earlier, getting rid of Grunix, getting rid of Princess, all these from the graveyard. Oh my goodness, we want it. We can even get rid of the Sinful Spoil and Dial Bell Star cards from the graveyard, because they tend to give them a a +1, or a plus, or a fixed hand or something. Yeah, they're irritating. I've lost several times because these cards resolving. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Next we have MPEM. All right, it doesn't work as good as skill drain like I showed in the mutant cards. However, one, it searches us some very irritating cards, and two, it does definitely slow down the opponent in terms of link plays, because if they're unable to link, because link cannot be placed in defense, and it ain't happening. Plus also MPEM coming to the board turn second when the opponent has already an end board, an established board. We are looking good, because this effect at 2700, an effect where your opponent cannot activate the effect or special summon attack monsters. It's just a big plus. But most importantly, it gives us our search to unexplored wing. This card is a removal. We basically can use any of our opponent monsters card on the field, send it to the field, so which is non-destruction. It's a non-destruction card, which means it plays around the sanctuary, which is so good. So we can get rid of the Fire King Island to nuke the opponent board, because this leaves the field, right? And there's nothing for it while playing Sweet Yugioh. And one thing I love about this deck also, it cannot plays around the Fire King Sanctuary, because the deck just doesn't special summon whatsoever. So the opponent won't have the opportunity to use the effect where it can special summon the Exceed from the extra deck to pop our field. So this effect is just cut off, and then we can just remove it with the unexplored wing. I also love the Dreamtown, the Book Moon effect mainly, because the fire deck tend to spam or really fill the board with monsters to link summon. So basically we can put all the cards face down based on what turn or what interaction is happening. It's basically gonna cut down or slow down their turn significantly. I also love the fact that the deck plays Shifter, and it actually plays Shifter even better than the Mutant, which I mentioned earlier, because this deck can manipulate its graveyard. So in the sense that you can actually play a shifter turn free, because the deck does have ways to remove cards from your graveyard, to have the graveyard empty again. So man, it's quite crazy, and we all know how effective shifter is against the Fire Nation cards. The deck has Happy's Feather Storm. I don't know why this card is still at free, but basically it tells you do not play Yu-Gi-Oh, because we're playing a world of Yu-Gi-Oh now, where monster effect is everything, and yeah, you cannot even do anything. Yeah, so basically we have Riser, and one thing that gives this deck a big advantage is the fact that it doesn't have destruction effects, and you know the fire cards love to be destroyed. Riser get rid of cards on the field and also in the graveyard, and you guys already know I love to mention the graveyard because we gotta get rid of the Grunix, we have to get rid of Princess, we have to get rid of them from the graveyard, and Riser is such a good card. MVP, maybe MVP. Next deck on the list is the Law. It is the Written Law, Dark Law, Turbo Dark Law. We want to get Dark Law out as soon as possible. Yeah, if this card is on the field, Yu-Gi-Oh is not Yu-Gi-Oh in for fire decks. And what's also great, like this is basically a Macrocosmos on legs, right? And Macrocosmos is nuts as it can be. However, this also has a spicy search, because we spicy effect. I'm thinking our search, bro. I'm thinking faster than I'm talking. Quite wet. Right? So basically, most of the starters or interactions with the fire cards have some form of search. So you imagine if your opponent activates this search, you go into Dark Law, these cards are going to go in the graveyard afterwards, and Dark Law has a very nice effect. When your opponent searches, we're going to rip a card from their hand. So we are definitely plussing, and this card is scary. Bro, I always hit this card because this card is just so good. It's just so nice. It's so nice. Dark Law, definitely. Now, another big advantage outside of Dark Law heroes have, they do have their own skill drain on legs, which is Plasma. You can also steal a monster. Quite easy to summon this monster. So yeah, this is also an option. But another factor or some component of this deck I love is heroes play Super Poly. Super Poly is busted versus the fire cards, right? It allows you to shut down the board to some extent, and they cannot interact. Nobody can interact. The spell speed 4. Come on. For the sake of the fire cards, I've been playing this in most of my side decks because why not, guys? So these are free, very budget deck cards you can definitely play. If you're interested in more cards you can play to destroy the fire cards, check out this video right here. I do have another deck I'm working on. You guys are gonna see it later. This is very, very spicy, and I've been destroying the fire guys with it. Take it, guys.